What should we name baby alligators at the Indianapolis Zoo? We are getting into all sorts of fun topics tonight on this Thursday night of Facebook Live. Great to be with you, my friends. I'm Scott. Angela will be around in a moment to talk about the Friday and the weekend weather, get you all set up so you can be weather aware. Got a hint for you. It's going to be really nice, so start making your outdoor plans. Also coming up tonight on the big show, this amazing story that our chief investigative reporter Bob Siegel has come up with that you're going to see tonight at 11, and I'm going to play a bit of our conversation with Bob tonight. You know, we've all heard about the whole COVID thing, knocking your taste buds out and your sense of smell. Bob has found a guy, and apparently this is an issue where people are literally having their taste buds ruined by COVID-19, where food that you love to eat is not only has no taste, it tastes like things like gasoline and hairspray. Wait till you see this story that we're going to show you coming up on 13 News at 11, and I've got a preview for it in a conversation with Bob coming up in a moment. And also tonight we're going to talk about big changes for IPS, because beginning in the fall, there are going to be thousands of kids who are going to have to find a different way to get to school. Maybe not riding the bus. May have to walk to school, may have to ride the Indigo bus. We'll talk with friend of the show, Alan Carter, coming up in a moment, but let's bring in Angela to kick off our night. Boy, we started with drizzle and sort of, yucky conditions, but ended with a beautiful night.
We really did, and it started during our 6 o'clock news. I was able to show our camera up in Miami County near Peru, and skies were starting to clear, and it just got clearer and clearer and clearer, and that's going to be the case as we head into Friday and the upcoming weekend.
Nice.
So you mentioned it. Go ahead and make those outdoor plans for tomorrow. Now, I would say if you're like me, maybe a sweatshirt or a jacket first thing tomorrow. We're going to be in the 40s to kick off our Friday, but a nice jump from that 48 to 64 at noon, and we'll have the afternoon in the 60s. It may feel a little cooler than that. Well, we've been in the 70s and 80s. We did have 70s and 80s this week, but you combine that cool 60s with a northwest wind that will be anywhere from 10 to 20. It may have a little bite to it during the day tomorrow. But if you're already looking ahead to the weekend, me. The two of us here, 70s on Saturday and near 80 on Sunday.
Wow. It could be a good time for a tea time for your family.
Yes, I think Mark is playing on Saturday. I think Grace is playing tomorrow, but we have a honey-do list.
Oh, really?
For Sunday.
We or he?
Well, I'm going to help. We need to power wash the deck.
Oh, okay.
So we're borrowing a friend's power washer, and we'll see if we can do it and not break the power washer.
Right. Yeah, power washer is great fun because, look, it is addicting.
Once you get started, all the dirt go away.
Oh yeah, once you get started on one area, you see another area. You'll be doing that all weekend.
Maybe power washing the whole neighborhood come Sunday.
All right, we'll talk more about the forecast coming up with you in a moment, Angela. All right, let's go ahead and turn our attention now to IPS. Tonight is a big night because tonight IPS has approved that transportation plan that we've been talking about a lot on the news, and this is going to be big changes for thousands of kids here in the state's largest school district. So let's bring in friend of the show, Alan Carter, joining us tonight. So Alan, tell us how this is going to impact parents and give us some reaction to it.
Yeah, well, what we're looking at is students, right? That's ultimately who's going to have to find different alternative routes in order to get to school. So in terms of high school students, they estimate that it could be about 600 students that if they live close enough to an Indigo bus stop, well, they won't be able to take the traditional yellow buses anymore. They'll be asked to get on an Indigo bus in order to get their routes to school. For some elementary school students as well as middle school students, if they live close enough to a school, about 2,000 of them, they're going to be asked to start walking if they live in designated walk zones. IPS says this will save them close to $7 million as they are facing close to an $18 million deficit. So not enough to cover all of the issues that they're seeing, but they say will make a significant dent in the budget shortfalls that they're having. As you can imagine, though, there are some parents that aren't exactly excited about this. They do have some concerns about what this will mean in terms of safety, right? The concerns about getting on a public bus system, whether or not that is a safe decision to have students to make, as we're talking about when you look at the high school students, you're obviously talking about people that are as young as 13, 14 years old that'll now be asked, instead of going on a traditional school bus, to have to get on a public bus.
And in terms of the kids that would be walking to school, how close or how far will they be walking in some cases?
I think in every case, it's under a mile. So that depends on the walk zone. It is different depending on age range, so that if you're a middle school student, that range is a little bit higher compared to what elementary school students will have to walk. But IPS says that for every student, it is a distance that's under a mile if their home is less than a mile from the school that they attend.
Okay, Alan, that's a big story, a very important story. Parents are going to want to tune in to find out how this does impact their IPS students. That story is coming up as part of our big story tonight on 13 News at 11. Alan, thanks so much. All right, let's go ahead and talk about this COVID story that Bob Siegel is going to be bringing us tonight on 13 News at 11. You know, again, we've been talking about, talking to people that have had COVID, and they'll tell you about their, the various symptoms they had, and oftentimes they'll talk about not being able to taste or smell something. Well, Bob is discovering a real problem for some people whose taste buds are being ruined by COVID-19, and we're talking months after they have survived COVID-19. So earlier tonight, I talked with Bob and asked him to describe the problem for us.
When we bite into a banana, we expect, our mind knows what that tastes like, and it tastes like a banana. Or when we bite into a tomato, obviously, we've all done that before, we know exactly what to expect. But what if this tasted like gasoline? Or what if this tasted like rotten trash? That's essentially what's going on right now for thousands of people who have developed a medical condition after COVID, and it's really turning their lives upside down. Ryan Witherspoon, who's been dealing with this now for a couple of months, he's on a mission to try and figure out what he can eat and what he can't eat. This can be a really serious medical condition where people really develop, serious depression, incredible amount of weight loss. Ryan has decided he is going to tackle this, and he's on a mission to find out what foods he can actually eat. So we have a clip that we're going to show you here in a second. He agreed to go to City Market and just taste test some different foods. For me, City Market is kind of like a foodie heaven. There's so many things there that I enjoy. But for Ryan, it was very different.
This smells awesome to me.
But Ryan is smelling something very different.
It's just this gross smell that's kind of a mix, like I said, of being gasoline and like putrid food.
For Ryan, right now, the only thing worse than the smell of food is the taste of food.
The immediate response is, and you want to spit it out. It's sour, it's dirt, it's mixed with gasoline. Like, and people say smoke or like burning. That's really what it is. It's just one flavor that my brain is being told everything tastes like. It's just this overall gross smell and taste that's kind of around me all the time.
It means Ryan's favorite foods don't taste anything like they're supposed to.
Like an Oreo cookie. I ate an Oreo cookie, and I love Oreo cookies. So I ate one the other day. It was good on the front taste buds. When it hit the back taste buds, it immediately turned into hairspray.
An Oreo cookie tasted like hairspray.
Started great. Okay, they're good. And then it reaches the back, and then it's like somebody sprayed a bunch of hairspray in my mouth.
Oh, man, I feel really bad for Ryan and what he's dealing with. I mean, is there any sense of whether or not the sense of smell and taste is going to come back in his case?
So there's good reason to believe that it actually will. And it's important to point out here, Scott, that doctors say that folks like Ryan, they are not going crazy. These are actual medical conditions that are now affecting thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands of people who are recovering from COVID-19. So the story that's airing tonight at 11, we're going to explain exactly what these medical conditions are, what doctors are doing to try to treat it, to get people to help get their sense of taste and smell back again. And Ryan's going to go ahead and taste test all those foods that you just saw that we got at City Market, and you'll get to hear directly from him what those things actually taste like. Yes, my heart goes out to Ryan as well. It's a hard condition to have.
So that's a preview of Bob Siegel's piece. Look, Bob is one of the best reporters in America, and his story is excellent tonight. You're going to definitely want to watch that. 13 News at 11 o'clock. I mean, Angela, can you even imagine what that would be like? First of all, you get COVID. That's horrible enough. And then you get over it, and then you lose your sense of taste where you're eating a pizza and it tastes like something like, you know, he's describing hairspray or gasoline.
Right, and you just wonder what has gone on
Right.
in the brain, and it's scary.
Yeah, it is.
Because you do hear, both of my parents had COVID, and both lost their sense of smell and taste, but it did come back.
Right.
But we've got a couple viewers saying there are lots of foods can't eat anymore because it just tastes bad since having COVID, and there was a reply to that, me too. From another viewer, and one other saying ever since COVID, dairy products make her sick to her stomach.
Really?
So, he's not alone, which it's scary.
Right. Well, be sure to watch tonight, 13 News at 11 o'clock. Bob does talk to doctors and finds a potential solution for Ryan and some other people that deal with that. So again, big special report coming up tonight in about 45 minutes. All right, you ready to try to name the baby alligators over there at the Indianapolis Zoo?
Sure.
Okay, so here's the deal. So the zoo in a month is going to open up a new crocodile and alligator exhibit. Cute little guys like this are going to be on display. They've got 4 little baby crocodiles, and they need help naming them. These may be alligators, I'm not sure.
I don't know the difference.
Right, so anyway, they are baby alligators. So here's the deal. The zoo's come up with 3 concepts. Let's go ahead and name them based on trees or plants found in their native habitat. So their suggestions are cypress, fig, glade, or palm. So that's one category.
Okay.
Names based on the zoo's new reptile rhyme. So we've got champ, chomp, snapper, or swamp. Any of those you like?
I like cypress.
Okay.
And snapper so far.
Snapper, okay. I like snapper too.
Okay.
And then names based on states where alligators live. So they live in Alabama, so they're thinking Al.
Okay.
They live in Carolina, Carl. They live in Georgia, George, and Texas, Tex. So Facebook friends, what do you think of all of those alligator suggestions? What names do you like? How about you?
I like cypress, snapper, and Carl.
Cypress. So why do you like cypress?
It's kind of exotic. It sounds kind of exotic.
Right.
And then Carl, I don't know, the one we showed kind of looked like a Carl.
I love snapper. I think that's a
good one.
That's a cool one for an alligator. We'll have to see, but if you go to the Indianapolis Zoo website, there's a form there, and you can go ahead and vote. And I think they're going to be giving away some gifts to the winner. And again, that alligator crocodile exhibit opens up. And are we getting any Facebook reaction to the gator story?
No votes yet.
Okay.
Okay. Liz says George.
George. Hey, nice. I like that,
And
Liz.
Rachel's with us, snapper, and she likes the second category.
Right.
And one more comment about COVID and the lasting impact.
Yeah.
Again, another comment about dairy being not so good for them after COVID.
Okay.
And Liz says her pets are named after Arthur and Joe, so that's her style. So that's the reason she liked George.
I like that.
Shirley likes cypress too.
Right. I'll give you those names again. So it's cypress, fig, glade, palm, champ, chomp, snapper, swamp, Al, Carl, George, or Tex.
Okay. I think my 3 are pretty good.
So Facebook friends, continue to weigh in on what we ought to name the baby alligators. They are really cute when they're about that big, and then it's a different story when they become big, big adults. So
Ellen says name one of them Tom Petty.
Hey, there you go.
Had a couple, Wally the gator.
Oh, there you go. I was thinking later gator.
Later gator.
But, I don't know. Maybe that's old school. So, all right. So for tomorrow.
After a while, crocodile.
Oh, nice. How about Crocodile Rock?
Oh, I like that one.
A nod to Elton John, yeah. All right. So.
Oh, you can name him Elton.
There you go. See, we got all sorts of suggestions.
just give
for
us
the
a call.
Indianapolis Zoo. That's right. We got them on speed dial. All right, so for wake up weather on Friday, what are we saying to folks?
A little cool, for at least compared to the last couple of mornings.
Yeah.
So maybe a sweatshirt, maybe a jacket, 40s, and then we'll be in the 60s tomorrow afternoon,
Right.
70s Saturday, 80 on Sunday. It does appear to be breezy kind of off and on. And I've actually had a couple of comments. It feels like it's been a windy spring.
Right.
And that trend is going to continue. A little breezy tomorrow afternoon and a little breezy over the weekend, too.
You did mention, let's see, Joanne says alligator.
I like that one.
Ellen likes chomp.
Okay.
And Liz says, try saying that 20 times fast. I think she was referring to all the different names that I was giving. And Glenn mentioned Wally Gator, which
Yeah.
I think that's a really good one. So continue to weigh in tonight. Facebook will be replying. And be sure to join Angela and myself coming up in 45 minutes over on 13 News. We got that big story that you're going to want to see about the IPS transportation changes. And, of course, that special report from Bob Siegel on your taste buds being ruined by COVID-19, all coming up with Angela's 7-day forecast when we see you tonight at 11. Good night.